Bang's doing. Good enough. Hello. It has been quite a while. I'm Jessie. For those of you that have been around through I think this YouTube channel is 7 years old now, and there's 10,000 of you guys, which is crazy. Thanks for being here. So, I know that you're all here for some juice. Well, I got divorced. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you've known that for a while. Right now it is November 20th, 2024. And in about 7 hours, I have a flight to catch to go to Brazil. So, where do we begin? Well, first of all, I want to tell you guys about my cute pajama set. You can match with me. Like I said, it's November. We're getting close to December, which is holiday time, and everybody needs a new pair of pajamas for, to open presents on Christmas morning and be in the family video. And all the family pics are going to be posted. You gotta look cute. So I highly recommend this pajama set. I love a silk pajama set. When your life is in shambles, sometimes the only thing that's actually together can be your pajamas. So, I'm going to have them linked on Amazon down below. So it's like a short sleeve silk top, as you guys saw as I was brushing my teeth. And there's a long pant set. And then there's also a cute little pair of shorts that go with it that match for those hot summer nights. There's a matching scrunchie, which I love because I need to sleep with all this hair back. And then, bonus, it comes with a cute little eye mask, and how I just love that. So anyways, you can match with me. It comes in a bunch of colors. I just really want to enjoy my nights alone. I put on my cute little matching pajamas. Also, these slippers, guys, look how freaking cute these are. I feel like Tinkerbell running around my house. I will also link these on Amazon below. They come in a bunch of different patterns and stuff. I got leopard because I feel like that matches all my pajama sets. By the way, this is not the only pajama set that I have, silk satiny pajama set. I literally own 5 or 6 sets. I think this is the 3rd or 4th pajama collaboration I've done on this channel. So this is a lot about me. Back to what we're actually here for. Okay, so you know me as the sister missionary girl whose boyfriend waited for her on her mission. Well, that was 9 years ago now. I started this YouTube channel in 2017, the year that I got married. Actually came home from my mission and got married. And now I am 28 years old and divorced. I never thought I would be 28 and divorced. I grew up, both my parents, before they met each other, had been divorced. And I genuinely felt like I did everything in my power throughout my entire life to mitigate any chance of divorce. And it still happened to me. Honestly, felt like I did everything right in my life. I was a pretty dang good kid. And I graduated from seminary, and then I went to BYU, Idaho, and then I went on a mission, and then I became the sister missionary girl on YouTube, and I got married in the temple, and my husband and I just had a phenomenal relationship. I really genuinely felt that. I felt that like our marriage was perfect, and I felt like my life was perfect. I loved it, and not in like a, oh, I want to go like rub it in other people's faces. Honestly, the whole reason that I kind of stopped posting on YouTube a few years ago is because my life, I moved into this house. I moved back to California during COVID after I graduated from college. I went to UVU, and I moved into this beautiful house, and honestly, everything was just so good that I felt like putting so much of my personal life online, and like now that I had all these beautiful spaces to film in, I just didn't want to. The desire wasn't there. And I've posted maybe just like 1 or 2 videos a year on YouTube that are like old mission vlog kind of things, and nothing of like super substance or about my life. Not because like things were so bad that I couldn't post about it, but honestly because things were so good and I was just having so much fun. My ex and I traveled so much the last few years. If you follow me on Instagram, it's a hoot and a half over here. Highly recommend. Especially now that I just make fun of myself all the time and being divorced. So, but everything was going really great and I loved my life. And if you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have told you that my marriage was perfect. And then one day it wasn't. So the thing is, there's obviously 2 sides to every story, and there's my side, there's my ex's side, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the reasons why it's his fault and not my fault. Honestly, it boils down to the fact that like we just wanted different things, and it really sucked. I really wanted to be with him. And I really wanted to be married. I'm gonna cry. So I'm not gonna tell you about all the things that happened, but I am gonna tell you about the feelings that like I experienced. And I think over the next few months, as I kind of navigate like talking about this online, because like I said, I'm not here to like ruin anyone's reputation. I'm not trying to like expose anybody, but I know that a lot of people get divorced, and being a Latter-day Saint, a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which I still am. So many people just automatically assume that when you get divorced, you like leave the church. It was not the case. I love the church and still very, very active. And I have a primary calling right now. I go to 2 different wards right now. I go to a family ward still for my primary calling, and I still go to, and then I started going to a singles branch here in my hometown, and it's been great. So yeah, you guys can comment down below like questions you have after this video, and maybe videos that you want to see, and like different topics you want me to explore and talk about, even if it's still sister missionary stuff. I feel like sister mission stuff has changed so much since I served, that like I'm just so irrelevant now when it comes to that. So like ask me about literally anything else, please. And I feel like I literally made like 200 videos about sister missionary stuff, so I don't know if I have anything else to say on the topic. Back to, like I said, why we're all here, the divorce. So the gist of it is, 14 months before, can I do math? No. Yeah, 14. Well, 15 months before my husband and I separated. That was kind of the beginning of the end. There was some differences of beliefs. There was differences in desires on lifestyle choices. And we were just trying to navigate those things. And I didn't tell anybody about any of these problems going on in my marriage because, like, 1, I didn't want to worry anybody. 2, I felt that, like, I had this under control. We had been married for 5.5 years at that point, and I knew that everybody went through problems. I knew that every couple goes through hard stuff, and honestly, we didn't, I feel like, go through that much hard stuff. So then when things did get hard, I was like, okay, like, it's our time. Like, that's okay. Like, we're learning, we're growing, we're doing this together, we're a team. And all of a sudden one day we just weren't a team anymore. And I spent 15 months feeling the most lonely I ever have. in my whole life. And a couple of months after we separated, like physically separated from each other, I went to San Francisco and house sat for some friends for a month down there just by myself, and made lots of friends, reconnected with all the friends. And I remember walking down the street in a neighborhood that I didn't know, going out for ice cream, taking myself to ice cream. And I didn't have headphones in, nothing, and I was just walking by myself. And I realized that, like, that was the least lonely I had felt in years. Being in a huge city that I didn't know, living by myself in someone else's house, was the least lonely that I felt in years. So, back to the downward spiral. Like I said, there was just a lot of differences in lifestyle choices, and I was in it to win it, though. I was in it for eternity. Like, I also didn't tell anybody in my family because, like I said, I didn't want to worry them, but I also just didn't want outside opinions. I didn't want someone to say the wrong thing and make things worse. And honestly, I just kind of thought that, like, everything would get better. It had always been so good. There was no reason that it just couldn't go back to being the way it was. And I just really wanted everything to go back to the way it was. But that wasn't happening. So towards the end, before we physically separated, honestly, that 15 months, I grieved the loss of my marriage while I was still married. And it's kind of weird. I used to think divorce was so cut and dry that, like, oh, like, it's so, like, you know, it takes two to tango, like, everything's 50-50 on whose fault it is. But after going through it myself and gaining so much compassion and making so many great friends who are also divorced, and just talking to divorced people, every situation is so different. And honestly, it feels like they passed away. That 15 months before we physically separated. So I grieved the loss of the person that I knew. And I remember looking up, like, what are the stages of grief in the summer before we split up. I did a Q&A on my Instagram back when I posted about my divorce, and you can still go look it up. It's a highlight called divorce. And someone asked me in it, like, oh, even, like, when you were traveling and stuff, were you still fighting? Or, like, were things bad? And I literally wrote, I was like, yeah, like, you know, things can be hard whether you're at home bored or when you're running around Europe. Like, either way, like, I was just sad. And honestly, during that time, during those 15 months where I was super lonely and trying to fix things all on my own, I really distanced myself from God. Not necessarily to, like, you know, the public necessarily, but, like, just in my heart, I was struggling so much. And honestly, I was receiving, like, promptings to leave my marriage. I just kept having this nagging thought to leave, and I just kept ignoring it because I'm like, no, like, excuse me, I am married for eternity here in the temple. Like, I'm not just gonna leave. And as I ignored that, I just really started to ignore the Spirit in a lot of ways because it was hard. And I was really losing a lot of hope and faith in the trajectory of my life. And I was compromising everything that I wanted. And I just didn't know what to do. And so I finally turned to my parents when things got really bad, right at the end when we physically separated, my ex and I. I'm not even getting into, like, all the events that surround all of this because, like I said, it's not 100% my story to air on the internet. But like I said, how I feel is. So when we physically separated, it tore me apart in ways that I didn't know was possible. I haven't cried this much about it in many months. I still cry a lot, but it's different now. Because at the beginning of the separation, It was unbelievably hard. There were so many days and weeks that I just laid on the floor of my parents' house and just sobbed. And I couldn't sleep, and I just felt like my mind would just spin all night long. I stopped like eating. I just was like in a daze. I ran away to Washington to go spend time with my brother and sister-in-law, and I was really in some delusion. I was still trying to fix it, even though I was physically on my own. In my mind, there was no world where I was not married to him. And now, I can't imagine a world where I would still be married to that person. Because, like, spoiler, my life is super great now. And I'm actually doing really well, despite the tears and the puffiness and the snot. But those first weeks and months were really hard. And I had never been through something that hard ever. I hadn't lost a loved one close to me before. Like, I've lost grandparents and whatnot. But I remember through just the tears and sobs telling my mom, like, I've never been through anything this hard. I can't do this. And there were so many dark, dark nights. I couldn't come back to my house because it was filled with pictures of my relationship, and that was torture. And just everything was too much. I remember I literally, like, I would scratched my legs so much from the anxiety. I had never experienced anxiety in my life. For those of you that have anxiety, like, all the time, oh my gosh, like I said, I have so much compassion for you, because I spent those first couple months, I just felt like I couldn't breathe. My whole abdomen was just so tight all the time, and it was exhausting. And just I couldn't even think. I'm so glad for the jobs that I had at the time, and just how I was able to navigate, like, just keep work super low key, because I don't even know, like, getting divorced is a full-time job. Gosh, I need a tissue. Also, spoiler, I made it through. Guys, it's so cozy out right now. I lit my candle, and it's about 10 p.m. Like I said, I need to catch a flight in about, 5 hours? Yes. And it's pouring rain outside. It's a vibe. It was a good night for this. So yeah, there was just nights that I couldn't sleep, and I just had so many breakdowns with friends and family, and I would go to church, and I would just go and I would sit in the foyer, and I'd fall asleep on the couch, because it was the only place that I just could relax. Even though, like, my parents weren't, like, at that ward or anything, and there wasn't even really anybody my age going to that family ward, it just felt good, and it felt right to be there. And through everything, through all of the craziness, I never stopped going to church. I love the church. I've definitely, like, been through twists and turns and ups and downs with my relationship. I've never once gotten mad at God. This is not his fault. It's no one's fault. It just is. This is my life path. And honestly, I'm so grateful for this experience. If you would have told me, gosh, 2 years ago that I would be divorced, I couldn't fathom that thought. That just couldn't happen to me. But all the months now that I've been on my own, I have rebuilt my relationship with God. There's been so many amazing people along the way that have helped me strengthen my spirit and just, like, get the spark back of, like, the gospel. I feel like I'm on, like, in therapy and, like, sitting on the couch. By the way, I am in therapy, and it's phenomenal. If you can afford a therapist, oh my gosh, everyone should be in therapy. I wish Ruby was here in the video because I have Ruby. But she's actually at my parents' right now because, like I said, I'm getting ready to go to Brazil. But yeah, there's definitely been some major rock bottom moments. Times that I really didn't think I could get much lower, and surprise, it could get much lower, both just because of the circumstances of the divorce, but also because of circumstances I put myself in. I, like I said, just used to feel so shallow. Honestly, before I got divorced, I was really shallow because nothing bad had ever happened to me. And through this, I, like I said, have so much more compassion, not only for divorced people, but for people with anxiety, for people who question their faith, for people that, you know, are just emotional. You have no idea what people are going through. I do have to say, there was like people at church who would just say the most out-of-pocket things to me. Like, and ask me like where my wedding ring was when I, like, literally the first Sunday when I stopped wearing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, who asked that? Crazy. It's totally fine. It builds character. But the Lord has blessed me in so many ways. Honestly, there were so many nights, and on the entire situation, I see the hand of the Lord in everything. I think it was only because of the prayers of other people, the people that put my name on the temple roll to be prayed for. That was the only way that I was like making it through the worst of it. I can't sit here and say that like, oh, like going to the temple, like, you know, made everything better, or like attending Relief Society. Like, it was just all those things together. I just continued to go to church. I continued to do my scripture study, even when my heart wasn't in it. Even when I just had no hope or faith. I just knew that this brings me peace. This is the one consistent thing that's happening in my life right now. And I need God. And I'm going to keep trying. And He has sent me so many friends. Honestly, I've never really been someone that felt like I had like a best friend growing up. Like in high school, I had quite a few friends, but I went to college, and my first year at BYU Idaho, I like didn't feel like I had any friends at all, and it sucked. And I like was so boy crazy, and through therapy discovered the why behind all these things, like literally 10 years in the past. But it was because I didn't have friends, which like sounds so sad, but like it's true. And like everyone at some point in their life like doesn't have friends. But for years, even when I was married, I would pray for friends. I'm like, please, like I just didn't feel like I had anyone that understood me or cared about me. Looking back, like honestly, I think it's because I was really shallow and very unrelatable. Now that I have like some trauma, like I feel like it's really easy to make friends now. But from the very first moments, like literally the first few minutes of being physically separated from my ex, God sent people into my life to help me, and to take care of me, and to guide me, and comfort me. Because the person that had done that for years wasn't there anymore. And the person that I had put everything into, for better or for worse, wasn't there anymore. And I am so grateful for all the people that have came into my life. This year has been one of the craziest years of my whole life. Probably the craziest year of my whole life. I'm like, what do I even compare this to? Like, there's no other year that's comparable. But the people that have came into my life in just the strangest ways have been incredible. And I'm so grateful. Like, you all know who you are. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I have genuine friends. And friends of all different, like, walks of life. Like divorced friends with kids, without kids, little kids that I give horse riding lessons to have like healed my heart. Church friends, both like old and young people. There's this elderly lady I go and visit who was also divorced. And she just tells me the most hilarious jokes about her ex-husband, and it brings me a lot of joy every week as she sits in her recliner with her oxygen tank and and we roast our ex-husbands together. There was so many times at church, and I just got back from Institute tonight because I go to Institute now, which is so fun, the singles ward. But we were just talking about tonight how important it is that, like, even if you feel like you're not getting anything out of going to church, like, stop focusing on the selfish reasons for going to church. Like, obviously, like, yeah, sacrament's great. Hearing lessons and, like, learning from other people, like, all that stuff is great. But, like, think of what you can do for other people. There was so many people who would see me leave a sacrament meeting in the middle of it, like, crying, and follow me to the bathroom, even though, like, I wasn't even crying about, like, the reason they thought I was crying about. But just to have people there and to acknowledge me, and to have friends that would sit with me as I cried for hours. They would pick me up from the floor or the sidewalk, wherever I had fallen apart at. Who would just listen to, like, my deepest thoughts and concerns. I'm so grateful for those people. And if you feel like you don't have friends right now, don't worry, like, you will. Like, you just haven't met them yet. Like, there's people out there that are gonna be your best friends, and you just haven't met them yet. I'm 28 years old, and I finally feel like I have friends. So, my love life is in shambles, but I have friends. But in so many ways, I feel like, oh my gosh, guys, I can't breathe. You guys should bill me for this therapy session. So, for the first time in 7 years, I feel reconnected to myself. I joked that, like, every month of being on my own is like gaining 1 year of life back. When my husband and I split up, I felt like I was 19 years old. Because that's how old I was when I met him. I known him for 9 years. We were married for almost 7. And so, you know, I'm, like, almost getting back to my age. I'm finally getting into my late 20s. It feels good. But I'm just learning. I've never been single. And that's a huge piece, too, that, like, I had never been alone. And I was terrified of being alone. And like I said, I didn't realize how lonely I was, even though I was married. And as soon as I was on my own, the Lord helped me, gave me strength, my friends gave me strength, and little by little, literally, like, when it all fell apart, for a little while, it was minute by minute. We were getting through life. Then it was hour by hour, and day by day, and the days felt like weeks, and the weeks felt like just, like, months long. And I'm not saying that I used all my time wisely. I've had a lot of fun this year. Now that I'm in my single era. And I've ran all over the world away from my problems. But I don't regret anything that I've done. Even some of the really dumb stuff. Because, like I said, it's led me to so many wonderful people and to so many great experiences and so many wonderful lessons. And I just love the person that I'm becoming. And I'm becoming someone that's not afraid to be alone. I live alone. I work from home alone. I'm filling my life with incredible hobbies. I play volleyball. I play pickleball. I go to the movies by myself. I mean, I definitely went through a phase where I was a little bit boy crazy and, like, you know, dating was a full-time hobby, job, whatever. And we're getting past that now. I'm going to just love myself and fulfill my own needs. These are all just things that, like, I'm learning that I didn't have to learn when I was when I should have learned them when I was like 19, 20, 21, 22, because I got married and I just had this built-in best friend. So, like, that's the other reason I'm so compassionate for people. You have no idea what people have been through, and, like, yeah, maybe they just haven't learned the lessons that you have. Moral of the story, just be nice to everyone. You don't know what they're going through. But the sadness definitely subsided, and I don't feel alone. I don't have to fill the quiet space in my home with podcasts and music all the time. But I do have to say, I have a brand new appreciation for music that I've never had in my entire life. Back to, you know, me being shallow, being married, I, like, did not connect with breakup songs. Like, I'd never been broken up with, really, like, in a tragic way. And, like, I didn't really get, like, the whole, like, Taylor Swift thing. I would like to apologize because I fully understand now. I just had to have my heart absolutely shattered in order to understand Taylor Swift's lyrics, because oh my gosh, like there's so many songs that are just so relatable, and like I just feel seen, and I get it now. So yeah, honestly, a lot of times that I cry, it's not because of the situation that I'm in. I don't regret getting married young. I don't regret my marriage at all. We had a lot of fun, and they were life lessons that I would never learn any other way, and that's okay. And honestly, now I just have like a cute little backstory about being divorced. And I am so grateful for the lessons that I've learned through this entire thing, and the lessons I'm going to continue to learn. I am just so proud of the person that I am, because never in a million years did I think I could be this tough, and that I could do this. Like, I'm doing this. I'm doing okay. I'm doing great. And I'm really happy. And my happiness is coming from really healthy places, like myself and God and my friends and my family, and it's great. And I understand now people that are just in their lowest of low moments. I'm really grateful that I went through this, that I am going through this experience, because it's made me such a better person. It freaking sucks. Trials suck. But most of the time that I tear up, it's because I think about how sad I used to be, and I think about the girl that had no hope. That even though she was living a really glamorous life and thought she had a perfect marriage and thought she had everything figured out for the rest of her life, right now I have nothing figured out. And I'm so happy. And I'm thrilled that I get to experience this like single era right now. And it's just like, I feel like my life is a movie, for better or for worse. Like, there's that joke going around that's like, whoever's writing my romantic comedy, like, can I get a little more rom and a little less calm? But I cry because I think about the girl who was crying, sobbing, screaming on the floor, having panic attacks. And just like, I just imagine being there and hugging her and telling her it's gonna be okay. Because it is. No matter what you're going through, it's gonna be okay. Honestly, I think there's a saying that's like, let me look it up. Here we go. If you feel like everyone hates you, sleep. If you feel like you hate everyone, eat. If you feel like you hate yourself, shower. Absolutely yes. I do have to say that some of the most lonely times are at night. And I've just learned to not expect anything of myself at night, not to make any sort of emotional decision. I allow myself to put on my cute PJs and do my skincare routine, take a nice shower, light a candle, and watch some stupid television. And then go to sleep. And 99% of the time, I feel a lot better when I wake up than when I did when I went to sleep. Yeah, I didn't expect to be here making a video like this. I'm really sorry if you're going through something similar. Because of this experience, I've had a lot of people reach out to me that are going through relationship trials or breakups, and have asked me for advice, which is wild, because I'm like, I actually know nothing. I'm just trying to figure out too, but like, it's really nice to feel valued. And if you need someone to talk to, my Instagram DMs are always open. I will try to respond to you. But just know that you're not alone, that God loves you so much. If you feel like you have literally no one, and maybe you literally don't have anyone, and you're just like in the absolute depths of despair, I've been there. But so is Jesus. And he's your brother. He loves you and he understands, and you can just talk to him. And that's one of the fun things about living alone now, is that I just talk to God as I walk around my house. We have conversations and it's great. Like I said, I'm reconnecting with the part of me that has felt lost for so long. I feel like my spirit is growing, and this was a season of my life And I have no idea, like I said, I have no idea what's in store. Everything that like I can control is going really well. Like career, thriving. Family relationships, thriving. Friendship, thriving. Hobbies, thriving. Love life, we're working on that, but that's okay. Yeah, I think that's all I have for tonight. I need to go to bed. If you want to see what I'm doing in Brazil and for the rest of the year, you can follow my Instagram. Like I said, get yourself a cute pair of jammies, not just for the holidays, but just to feel a little bit better about yourself. I guarantee if you put on some matching PJs, like it's super shallow, but like you will feel better. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to my snotty story. And I promise it won't be a couple years until I'm back. All right, time for bed.